Hello everyone, this is Aryan Thakkar, your coach and mentor, and welcome back to my YouTube channel on Aryan Tutorials, where in this video I'll be taking up your ISC Class 12's Macbeth Act 5 Scenes 6 and 7 combined as a revision. But if you haven't been through your text, then first go read your text and then come back to this insightful video, last minute revision video on Scene 6 and 7 of Act 5. Now, talking about this particular scene, these two particular scenes over here, Macbeth's delusion and isolation comes to his forefront. He realizes that he had been deceived and tricked by the witches' equivocated prophecies, double standard prophecies or half-laced truths. At the same time, Malcolm, सबसे पहले तो अगर हम लोग scene 6 का बात करें, in scene 6 we get to see that the English troops, they have reached Dunstan and Malcolm advises each of the soldier to just remove their branches which they had used as a camouflage and show them like they are supposed to show. Okay? They are ready for the battle. And then followed by scene 7 where Macbeth also joins into the battlefield, and first of all he confronts young Siward, and with a little bit of verbal war, like a cold war, Macbeth ends up killing the young Siward, which is again the death of the innocence on Macbeth's part, which justifies him as a tyrant of a ruler. Okay? So these two scenes combined is basically a final showdown where the prophecies are fulfilled of the Birnam Wood and order is about to be restored. It is on the way to be restored. And Malcolm's order and alliances bringing restoration is at hand, is approaching, is near. Talking about the summary of scene 6, first of all, Act 5, scene 6 ka setting is Malcolm army arrives at the Macbeth's castle, like they are outside the Macbeth's castle, and they throw down the branches from Birnam Wood, revealing the true size of the force of the army of the battalion. And then Malcolm orders the soldiers to draw swords and take army, and the army advances, proceeds to attack. This marks the launch of the final battle. This is a very short scene. ठीक है, एकदम छोटा सा है, not that much important, but you should never take a chance, and आप इसको भी थोड़ा सा prepare कर लीजिएगा. And then followed by scene 7, where actually the battle begins. This particular scene, the setting is somewhere onto the battlefield. The battle is underway, on its way. Macbeth fights fiercely. Okay? He appears to be formidable because he continues to rely upon the witch's prophecy. Although the Birnam Wood prophecy has been fulfilled, Macbeth is still blind to the equivocation of the finds, because he still wants to believe that no one would be born of a woman who would come and confront him. But then as audience, we are already prepared and aware of the misleadingness of that particular prophecy too. So Macbeth, although he fights fiercely, still confident in the prophecy that no man born of a woman can harm him. Macbeth, in his rage, kills young Siward in the combat, in the fight, and Macduff is actively searching. Please use this in your answer. Actively searching for Macbeth to exact revenge नहीं होगा, to extract revenge. ठीक है, to extract revenge, or basically to avenge his deceased family whom Macbeth had got murdered, killed, or ambushed. Malcolm's forces overpower Macbeth's army and the castle is surrendered. They have invaded inside the castle and then castle immediately surrenders. Now, talking about the critical analysis part, the mask drops in scene 6 where Malcolm says that now reveal yourself the way y'all should. So in scene 6, the soldiers removing the branches is symbolic, where deception ends and truth is revealed for a noble cause. Okay? For a noble cause, and Macbeth's reign was built on false security. See, although appearance versus reality permeates throughout the play, permeates yani it, it spreads across throughout the play. However, Malcolm's usage of deception, appearance versus reality, was for a noble cause, while Macbeth was that for of his own vaulting and personal desirous ambition. That is a slight contrast which you need to bear in mind. So Macbeth's rule was built on false security and prophecy, and now falsehood collapses, while that of Malcolm's deception was for a noble cause. And then Macbeth still continues to believe that he bears a charmed life. So Macbeth's charmed life is nothing but just a delusion of his, which is fatal. Fatal means which will turn out to be deadly. And in scene 7, Macbeth's confidence is rooted in the charmed life prophecy, which he treats as a legal guarantee. His bravery is physically strong, but mentally he is all crippled, isolated, and weak and tortured. The tragic irony is that audience knows the prophecy has loopholes, but Macbeth relies on it completely. He only chooses to believe prophecy whenever it is suitable for him. And then he realizes that he has always been deceived by those equivocated prophecies. Talking about further critical analysis, leadership contrast versus Malcolm and Macbeth, although this has already come last year in the examination, so very less chance of it coming this year. However, you should prepare a give reason part on this portion. Malcolm over here, his language is more controlling, authoritative, disciplined, and collective, and he commands like a leader restoring order, which Macbeth lacks. So, Macbeth in scene 7 is portrayed as frantic. Frantic means lunatic. He is losing his state of mind. He has grown isolated and at the same time tyrannical as well. Why? Because the way he kills the young Siward without showing any mercy shows that he is indeed a he is indeed a tyrant who has stooped into criminality to such an extent that it is not just affecting him but the entire country altogether. Okay, so he fights alone, proving that a tyrant can terrify individual but cannot defeat a united nation at the same time. And the moral cost of war is basically young Siward, who has been sacrificed who has been sacrificed at the hand of Macbeth to restore normalcy in Scotland, which often shows that war marks killing of a lot of innocent people, at the same time noble people, for restoration into the country, which becomes sacrifice, which makes sacrifice as a necessity. Okay. Over here, young Seward's death in scene 7 represents a noble sacrifice and youthful heroism, and Macbeth's killing him shows that Macbeth is still dangerous but morally rotten at the same time. This contrasts honorable warfare Seward against the corrupt violence that is Macbeth himself. Now, moving forward, talking about the character sketch of Macbeth, he is basically a tragic contradiction, a heroic soldier, but an immoral king. Please use this contrast in your answer. In this particular scene, although he fights bravely, but at the same time, he is a tyrant and he is immoral in his attributes and nature. Still fearless, violent, and proud in battle, he is governed by his vanity, relying upon the witch's prophecy that no one born of a woman shall be able to vanquish him. And his courage is hollow, it's empty because it comes from prophecy and not from true honor. Take care. Now, moving forward, character sketch of the other restorers like Malcolm, Macduff, Young Siward. Malcolm is portrayed as calm and decisive, represents the rightful kingship and the national unity because Malcolm brings everyone together, and justice. He symbolizes justice. His leadership style proves that he has earned the crown morally and he's a fit ruler to the Scotland. On the other hand, Macduff, he is the moral avenger. He is the one who avenges his family's death, and he's driven by moral rage. Although he's driven by rage, but that rage is for the sake of justice. It is for the sake of justice and for his family rather than just a political ambition. Young Siward, on the other hand, he's a symbol of noble sacrifice who dies with honor, and he represents the future of Scotland, which Macbeth puts an end to. Talking about the theme alignment, fate versus free will. Once again, the scene 6 and 7 over here, the prophecy is fulfilled through human strategy, that is the branches one, Burnham one. And in the scene 7, Macbeth believes fate can still continue to protect him, but fate is actually working against him, no more in favor of him. And talking about appearance versus reality over here, scene 6, the leafy screens, that is the leafy branches, are thrown down, truth is revealed. And in scene 7, Macbeth's charmed life is nothing but just a delusion disguising his vulnerability, trying to conceal his vulnerability, which is soon to be exposed when the other prophecy too will get fulfilled once Macbeth confronts Macduff. Themes alignment. Third and fourth is a contrast between the true kingship and tyranny, the noble kingship and tyranny. Malcolm's rule is lawful and collective, where Macbeth's tyranny is just sustained through blood and isolation. Justice and restoration is at hand, it is about to be restored. The attack is moral cleansing of Scotland, purging the last fortress of corruption. Purging का मतलब क्या होता है? Restoring. Purging is basically healing or restoring the last fortress of corruption, which was architect by Macbeth. Take care. And at the same time, some of the quotations which you definitely should use in your answers are: now near enough, your leafy screens throw down, aligning with appearance versus reality. Make all our trumpets speak, signals the beginning of the war, or the sound of the trumpet basically blows the bugle of the impending war and the climax, and give them all breath, those clamorous harbingers of blood and death is a vivid imagery of violence which is to be unleashed. Havoc is to be unleashed. Some of furthermore key quotations from scene 7 are: I bear a charmed life. Again, it is Macbeth's fatal confidence, reliance, dependence on the prophecy. Thou wasn't born of a woman. It is a tragic irony because Macbeth still continues to think that he is safe after killing young Siward. And if thou beest slain at with no stroke of mine, my wife and children's ghost will haunt me still, is the line of Macduff. Basically, Macduff must personally defeat Macbeth because Macduff's family death was personal to him, and that is why he personally want to be the one who will behead Macbeth and strip him off from his tyrannical position. Some of the lines and phrases which you should use in your answers are: Act 5, Scene 6 marks the moment when deception is discarded and truth marches openly towards Macbeth. Macbeth's final courage is rooted not in honor but in prophetic delusion. The throwing down of the branches symbolizes the collapse of Macbeth's illusion of security. Shakespeare presents Macbeth as a tragic paradox. A heroic warrior trapped in a tyrant's role. Please use it in your answer. It's a very good line. The killing of young Siward shows Macbeth remains physically powerful even as his moral authority collapses, and Macduff emerges as the moral executioner, that is, performer of Scotland's justice. So these are some of the lines. Please make use of it in your answer. Concludingly, scene 6 strips away the disguise as Malcolm's united army advances to purge, to restore Scotland of tyranny, leading directly into scene 7, where Macbeth's heroic bravery survives but is corrupted by prophecy, while Macduff advances as the agent of justice. And then in scene 8 and 9, we'll get to see the final confrontation between Macbeth and Macduff, and concludingly by the restoration of normalcy of moral, social, and political order back into Scotland in scene 9. So I hope this video helps, and if you're liking my content, do let me know in the comment section below. Till then, keep studying, keep smiling, take care, bye bye, have a great time preparing for your examination.